Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, February 7th, and you're in the news at First Presbyterian Church with Reverend Zach. Wanted to give these bi-weekly updates. We're going to do these every 2 weeks just to catch up on everything going on in the life of the church, because we do have a lot of angles and a lot of pieces that are always going on behind the scenes, not just in the life and ministry of things that you see obvious happening in the church and at worship, but behind the scenes with church leadership and strategy and things that we're trying to do and accomplish together, even in the long term. So check these out every couple of weeks. They'll be in e-news and on our social media, and we'll catch you up on everything going on in the life and ministry of the church and in the community beyond the church. So I want to share with you a couple things that are happening imminently here. This Sunday, February the 11th, is important for, especially for members of the church. We're having our annual congregational meeting. We do that every single year, and a couple things that we do at that meeting is hear some committee highlights over what's been accomplished and priorities over the next and coming year. I'm going to spend some time actually sharing some information from session and session priorities and some work that the session retreat did last year. So I want to spend some time doing that with members. We also, the congregation gets to see the church budget for 2024. You can see that at any time, but we present it at that congregational meeting. Then the big thing that has to happen is you vote on the pastor's terms of call so that I officially have a contract with you for another year. That happens every year, so kind of important. So we look forward for you being there. And then after the congregational meeting, we're going to gather up in the gym for a deacon's lunch. So bring a potluck, a side dish, dessert, anything you like to bring along if you're able, and we'll have a meal after the worship. So plan to be here for a little bit of an extended period of time on Sunday. If you are not a member of the church, you are still welcome to attend both those events. You won't be able to vote in the congregational meeting if you're not a member of the church. That's kind of how it goes in the Presbyterian world, but you're welcome to sit in, to learn, to take that in, and then, of course, to eat lunch with us after the fact. Then next week, there's a couple important things coming up, because that marks the beginning of the season of Lent. And Lent is a special season where we're leading up to Easter. It's 40 days, not counting Sundays. It's a time of rest, reflection, renewal. And that season is marked by a couple things. The day before Lent starts is typically Shrove Tuesday. It's something that's celebrated by lots of different folks. So we actually had our first one last year. So we'll have a Shrove Tuesday pancake dinner on the 13th from 5:30 to 7:30. And I've got some special Bible trivia planned. It's a little bit easier than it was last year, I think. I don't know. Maybe you can be the judge of that. But there will be a legitimately good prize. So you don't want to miss that. So join us for Shrove Tuesday, again, next Tuesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30. And then on Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of the Lenten season. Of course, I have ashes. The ashes are actually the burned up palms and dried palms from Palm Sunday every year. So that's where we get the ashes. And I've also got glitter. So we offer glitter ashes on campus. It's a special thing that's done to symbolize LGBTQ inclusion. That's actually an innovation of some LGBTQ ministers in the Presbyterian Church USA. It's not just for LGBTQ folks. You can have glitter ashes regardless of your sexual orientation or gender identity. But we will offer those first on campus during the day in the mountain layer from 11 to 1 to the students and campus community. And then they will be available at our Ash Wednesday service in the evening at 6 p.m. here at the church. So we do hope to see you for Ash Wednesday at 6 p.m. in the church sanctuary. A couple other things coming up. Looking ahead, on February the 18th, that's our next session meeting, so you'll get your next update after that meeting. So I'll fill you in on what all we do at that session meeting on February the 18th. Also to catch you up, the Reverend Ellie Johns Kelly is now renting an office space in Westminster Hall of the church. She is all moved in, and thank you to so many folks who worked really hard to clear out that office and get it ready for her, and also to clear out one of the old storage rooms in the Christian Ed wing of the church. That took a lot of effort, and so thanks to Brian McDonald and Property and Jan, thanks to the PW, thanks to Days for Girls groups, and everybody that worked to help get that transition happen. And now it's great because we have a more usable storage space, and Ellie gets to use that office, and so we're utilizing the church space much better. So thank you for that. So if you're here during the week, you may see Ellie using that office down there. That is hers. Also, a couple things to fill you in on in the life of the community. First off, we've been pretty involved in the warming shelter and hotel programs. We've actually exhausted most of our funds for the hotel program, but luckily, our friends at HealthRight have probably found us some more funding. So we're just waiting on some more funding, and we can continue that hotel program. That's a wraparound program to support the shelter for people who don't fit well in that group and community aspect of the warming shelter, so that we will be able to offer those services again. And then I'm also involved in a planning group that's already working on shelter plans and recommendations for next year, that we can adopt a kind of an overarching plan of what we need the warming shelter to encompass, that will kind of be a collaborative document and report that all those service providers can kind of agree on and rally behind when we're advocating for shelter resources next year. That's really important behind the scenes work. And then the last piece is, Empty Bowls Monongalia is a really prominent group that does great work providing funding for many hunger programs that you're familiar with. Our Pancake Breakfast is one of them. Community Kitchen, Sarah Stable, they provide funding for lots of folks. And they're having their annual luncheon coming up on February the 24th. So at the very least, make your plans to be a part of that luncheon on the 24th. We're probably going to try and coordinate and see if most of the church folks want to go around a certain time. So keep your eyes peeled for that as that approaches. But also, if you'd like to volunteer for that event, they always need a lot of volunteers. So you can go to their website. There's a volunteer page, and sign up to help out at Empty Bowls. I think there's morning and afternoon shifts on February 24th. It's really important to support that, not just because they help support our pancake breakfast, but also because Empty Bowls actually started as a ministry of this church, and now it's taken on a life of its own. It's a big community group, but it has its roots here. I think the first few Empty Bowls were held in the gym. I know many of you out there were involved in those early days of Empty Bowls Monongalia, so it's kind of a legacy ministry and partnership with the church that we should be proud of. So friends, that's all I have for this week. Glad to have you, and glad that you're now in the news for First Presbyterian Church here in February. Can't wait for the Taylor Swift game on Sunday, by the way. Hope you can either. See you soon.